Hello guys, this is Tuchopini Electrical Engineering and we are doing the KCSE 2022 paper, Maths Paper 1. We are on number 9, so let's commence. The question is, a translation T maps A, which is at point -62, A, which is at point -62, and we have onto A prime, which is at point 35. So we are told to determine the translation vector T. So if you are told to find the translation vector T, so you say it's the value which is at point X, which is -6, plus a translation X will give you 3, and the value which is at point Y, 2, plus a translation Y will give you 5. So it's a matter of finding X and Y. So X here will give us 6 plus 3, which is going to be 9, and Y here will give us 5 minus 2, which is going to be 3. Okay, so yes, if we put 3 here, it's going to give us 5. If we put 9 here, it's going to give us 3. So our translation is 0.93. Okay, that's what we get. That is 1 mark. And then we are being told a point P prime, which is -42, is the image of P under T. Determine the coordinates of P. Okay, so we are looking now for, like you see these coordinates here, for example, are for the main object, the real object, and then these coordinates now are for the translated object. So here in this question we have what? We have the translated object, which is point -42, -42, which is equals to the X and Y. We got the X and Y to be 9 and 3, which is going to be plus now our X and Y, which are the points of P. So here we just do a matter of what? A matter of finding the value of X and Y. So X is going to be -9, -4, that's going to be -13, and Y is going to be 2 minus 3, it's going to be -1. So our P is -13, -1. We move on to the next question, which says the cost of 1 liter of petrol is 110 shillings. 1 liter, sorry, is equivalent to Kenya shillings 110. John's vehicle covers 12 kilometers on 1 liter of petrol. So 1 liter is equals to 12 kilometers. This is for John. He used 2,805 Kenya shillings on petrol. Okay, he used 2,805 shillings on petrol to travel from town A to town B. So we have Kenya shillings 2,805 being used on petrol. So if 110 Kenya shillings is to 1 liter, then how many liters are going to be bought by 2,805? So we are going to do what? We are going to get 2,805 divided by 110 to give us the liters that we need. That's going to be, I'm sorry you can't see my calculator very well, so I'll just calculate it. 2,805 divided by 110, that gives us 25.5 liters. So that's going to be 25.5 liters. Okay, and we also know, so he used 25.5 liters to travel from A to B. Okay, so if 1 liter takes him 12 kilometers, what's the distance that's going to take him 25.5 liters? So we just come and say the inequality is 1 liter takes him 12 kilometers. What about 25.5 liters? Okay, so it's going to be 25.5 times 12. Let's do that. That gives us 306 kilometers. So the distance from A to B is 306 kilometers. Okay, so the next thing is we are being told Jane's vehicle consumes 12.5 liters for every 100 kilometers. She consumes 12.5 liters for every 100 kilometers. Okay, calculate the amount of money that Jane will use to travel from A to B on the same road. So if she uses 12.5 liters for 100 kilometers and she's supposed to travel for 306 kilometers, then we find the number of liters that she's going to use. Okay, let's see. So 306 kilometers will cost her to use how many liters? Is going to be 12.5 times 306 306 divided by 100. That's going to give us 306 times 12.5 divided by 100. That's going to be 38.25 liters. Okay, so for her car she'll need 38.25 liters to travel. It seems like it's a heavy car. So, and we know for each liter it costs 110 shillings. So we are going to take the 38.25 multiplied by 110. Let's see how much it will give us. Gives us 4,207.5 1,207.50 cents shillings. Okay, so that's how you do that. The next question says solve for theta. So we have sine 2 theta minus 15 is equals to cos 3 theta. So one thing you should know is that if you have a cos A, if you have a cos A, it's equivalent to saying you have a sine 90 minus A. Okay, so let's interpret that according to this question. If you have a cos 3 theta, it's the same as saying sine 90 minus 3 theta. Okay, so we have sine 2 theta minus 15 is equivalent to sine 90 minus 3 theta. So the signs are the same, so it means whatever is inside the bracket is the same also. So 2 theta minus 15 is equivalent to 90 minus 3 theta. Let's bring the thetas together. We have 5 theta is equivalent to 105 degrees. Divide by 5 theta, divide by 5 theta. So theta is equivalent to 21 degrees. Okay, so that's how we did that question. So for the next question, it's a construction question, and it says line AB, drawn below is a side of a trapezium ABCD. Okay, so let's first of all, we have line AB using a ruler and a pair of compasses only. So using rulers and pairs of compasses only, complete trapezium ABCD in which AB is parallel to DC. And then we are being told that BAD is given by 67.5 degrees, AD is given by 5 centimeters, BC is given by 5.5 centimeters, and ABC is acute. Okay, so let's do this. We will start off by drawing the 8 centimeter AB line. You'll forgive my equipment, it's not up to date. Okay. Let's mark where A starts off. Measure 8 centimeters. So this is our AB, which is 8 centimeters. We're being told AB is parallel to DC. So we have another line. Let's just do something to reference with. It's going to be parallel to this, and it's going to be starting with D this side and then C this side. Okay, and then we're being told BAD is equals to 67.5 degrees Celsius. BAD. Okay, remember D is on this side and C is on this side, so this angle is 67.5. So what do? We take our compass, we place it here, and we make an arc. It's as if we want to draw 60 degrees. After the arc, go to the 60-degree mark, cut it there, put it again here, cut it there. Okay, then so you cut here, again you cut here, and you join. That's going to give you 90. That's given us 90. Now after we have our 90, we're going to bisect then the 90 to get 45. So let's put our marker here, then the other one, we put it here, then we bisect that. Okay, so you bisected that. Then we are going to bisect the 45. It's usually take a lot of time. Okay, so let's see if it's giving us 67.5. 65, 66, 67, 67.5. It's actually giving us something close to that. So we have that. Then we're being told that's BAD. Being told AD is equals to 5. So we measure 5. And we mark it off. So we've measured 5 and we've marked it off. You're being told BC is supposed to be 5.5 centimeters. BC is supposed to be 5.5 centimeters. And ABC is acute. So what we're going to do here, we'll have to first of all do what? We'll have to first of all draw a line that is perpendicular to this one. Okay? So the best way to do that is if you have the protractors, not the protractors, the set squares I mean. Let me see how this will work out. Okay. I can't see very well, but I guess it's somewhere there. Yes, it's somewhere there. The pencil is kind of fat. Okay, so this is supposed to be our D, and we've been told our BC is 5.5. Now we have to measure 5.5 from here. We'll have to shift it to around there. So that we have okay. So we have something of that sort. Okay. And then now we're being told to measure the length DC. This is C. Measure the length DC. So our DC is I'm getting 3.1 centimeters. 3.1 centimeters. I'm guessing it was supposed to be exactly 3 or something of the sort, but I'm getting 3.1 centimeters. That's how we do that. The next question says, Ali left Mombasa for Nairobi on Tuesday at 2:30 a.m. So left Mombasa for Nairobi at 2:30 a.m. He arrived Mtito 3 hours 12 minutes later. So from Mombasa to Mtito 3 hours 12 minutes later. He stayed in Mtito for 36 hours. Mtito stayed for 36 hours. Okay. Then he left Mtito for Nairobi. Mtito for Nairobi. It took him 5 hours 25 minutes. 5 hours 25 minutes. So when I do this question, I like doing it in 24-hour clock system, and then I'll convert it back to 12-hour clock system, because it says determine the day and time in 12-hour system Ali arrived in Nairobi. So it's actually simpler if you do it in 24-hour clock system, and then once you get the final answer, you convert it back to what? To 12-hour clock system. So we are going to start off with him moving from Mombasa to Mtito. So he left at 0 to 30 hours. Okay. Then he traveled for 3 hours 12. So you add that up, it's going to give you 2450. Then there he stayed for 36 hours. So don't add the whole 36 hours. Add first of all 24 hours to bring you back to the same point. Okay. So we are going to add 24 hours, which will bring us to 2, 4 is going to be 5, because it's a whole day. Okay. After you add a whole day, you come back to the same point, the same time. Okay. But now it's the next day. This, remember, was a what? This was a Tuesday, I believe. This was a Tuesday. Okay. This was a Tuesday. This was a Tuesday. Now this is a Wednesday. Okay. Now from the 24 hours, we have 12 remaining. Okay. So we add the 12. So we add the 12. We have 2, 4, 7, 1. Wednesday. And then we have 5 hours 25 minutes. 5 hours 25 minutes. We add the 5 hours 25 minutes. That's going to give us 7. This is 6, so it's going to be 0. Carry 1. It's going to be 8, 13, 13, and 2. So this is 23 or 7 hours on Wednesday. Okay. So since we've been told to put it in 12-hour clock system, it's going to be 7, 0, 1, 1. 11 or 7, it's PM. Okay. So that's what you get. That's how we did that question. Number 14 says, the height of a cone is 12 centimeters. A frustrum whose volume is 1/8 of the volume of the cone is cut off. Determine the height of the frustrum. Okay. So we have a frustrum. Okay. Let me draw it. I want it to be leveled. So don't mind my frustrum. Just get the concept. So this is a cone we have here. And then let's assume we have an imaginary line. Not really imaginary. We are going to cut off what? We are going to cut off another cone so that we are left with the frustrum at the bottom, right? So the question is saying the height of the cone is 12 centimeters. So we are only given the height. There's no other thing that we're given in the question. So we'll have to be a little bit smart in how we work with the question. So let's first of all derive our own. Let's first of all put our own values. So this will call r, it will be capital R, this will be small r, okay? And then this, from this distance here to up here, this we will call h1, okay? This we will call h1. Are we together? Then this we will call h2. This we will call h2. And the whole of it, h1 plus h2, is what will be called h, okay? So we have that. Now you should remember that this is just a triangle. You see, this is just a triangle, and it's at some ratio with this triangle, okay? So we usually say this, that this bigger triangle over this smaller triangle, their ratio is equivalent to that bigger height, which is h, all over that smaller height, which is h1, right? Sorry, h1. I'm getting a little over myself. So r, capital R over small r, is equivalent to h over h1. H is the whole height here, h1 is this. So let's continue. So how do we get the volume of a cone? So volume of a cone, let's first of all start by getting the volume of the smaller cone, okay? Let's get the volume of the smaller cone. So volume of smaller cone will be given by a third pi r squared h, okay? So that's how we get that. So that's how we actually usually calculate what? We usually calculate the area of a cone. So it's a third base area times height, and how we get the base area is getting the area of the circle. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. So you find our r here is the small r, okay? Our h here is what? It's actually the h1, okay? That's good. So that's the volume of the small cone. What's the volume of the large cone? Try and guess. Volume of the large cone will be given by a third pi r, the capital R, okay? Pi r h, pi r squared h, right? Now since we have so many unknowns, we want to drastically reduce them. So we are going to say here we have this r, okay, over r is equals to h over h1. So we can write r is the same as writing h over h1 multiplied by small r. And we already know what? We already know the value of h. It's the only value that is given. And the value that is given is 12, okay? Is equals to 12. So r is given by 12r all over h1, okay? So that's the value of r. So we'll come here and fix it in. So we are going to have 1 over 3 pi, let's put the r now, which is 12r all over h1 squared h, okay? And our h here, we already know what the value is. It is 12. It is this, okay? So it's going to be 12 here also. So let's do it. Let's open it up. We have 12 squared, which is 144, multiplied by 12. giving us 1728. So we have is equals to a third. So let's just do 1728 divided by 3, okay? Gives us 576. So we have 576 is gotten by 12 times 12 squared, 12 squared times 12 divided by 3, 576 pi, and then the r is squared, r squared all over h1 squared, okay? So this is the volume of the large cone. Now they gave us a little bit more of information here, and they told us that a frustrum whose volume is 1/8 of the volume of the cone is cut off. So this frustrum, as you can see here, its volume is 1/8 of the what? Its volume is 1/8 of the cone. And if its volume is 1/8 of the cone, then it means the cone that is on top is 7/8 of the cone. I hope you're following. This is 1/8. The frustrum is 1/8 of the whole thing. Then it means the upper cone is 7/8 of the whole thing, okay? So we are going to say this value is equivalent to 7/8 of this value, okay? So we are going to say the smaller cone, which is a third pi r squared h1, is equivalent to 7/8 of 576 pi r squared all over h1 squared, okay? Now let's deal with everything. Let's take the 3 the other side, where we're going to have 21 here. When we cancel this, it's going to be 21 over 8. So 21 over 8 multiplied by 576. That gives us 1512, okay? So we have pi r squared h is equals to 1512 pi r squared all over, this is h1, all over h1 squared, okay? So the thing that we are actually looking for is what? Is this h1. Once we get this h1, we can minus it from h and we get this height, okay? Because this is the height of the frustrum we've been told to find. So we want to get the height of the cone, minus it from the height of the big cone, then we get the height of the frustrum. So it means we're looking for the integer h1. Okay, I hope you're following. So we are going to make h1 subject of the formula. So it's going to be, when you bring h1 this other side, it's going to be h1 multiplied by h1 squared is going to be h1 cubed is equals to 1512 pi r squared all over pi r squared. So the pi r squareds are going to cancel each other, and h1 cubed is going to be left, okay? So it means h1 is equals to cube root of 1512. So h1 is equals to cube root of 1512. So the cube root of 1512 that gives us 11.478. It's going to give us, sorry, 11.478, okay? So if we have 11.478 as our h1, then we can get our h2. Our h2 is simply 12 minus 11.478. So it's going to be 12 minus that answer. It's going to be 0.522. It's going to be 0.522 centimeters. I believe it was in centimeters. Yes. So that's how we did that question. So the next question was 8 raised to the power x plus 1 minus 2 raised to the power 3x minus 1 is equals to 120. This is the same as saying 2 raised to the power 3 into x plus 1 minus 2 raised to the power 3x minus 1 is equals to 120. So this is 2 raised to the power 3x plus 3 minus 2 raised to the power 3x minus 1 is equals to 120. So let's factor 2 raised to the power 3x. So 2 raised to the power 3x into bracket is going to give us 2 raised to the power 3. Okay, if you multiply this, it will give you back this. Okay, so minus 2 raised to the power negative 1. So if you multiply this expression, it will give you back this expression. So we have just factored out 2 raised to the power 3x is equals to 120. Okay, so let's divide by this. Let's divide by 2 raised to the power 3 minus 2 raised to the power negative 1. Divide by 2 raised to the power 3 minus 2 raised to the power negative 1. Hence we have 2 raised to the power 3x. 2 raised to the power 3x is equals to 120 all over is supposed to be 8 minus a half. 8 minus a half. Okay, 8 minus a half, that's 7 and a half. That's 7 and a half. That's 15 over 2. That's 15 over 2. So it's the same as writing multiply by 2 over 15. Okay, so by 15, that's 240 divided by 15. 240 divided by 15. Let's see what that gives us. Gives us 16. Gives us 16. So 2 raised to the power 3x is equivalent to 16, and 16 is 2 raised to the power 4. Okay, 16 is 2 raised to the power 4. So 3x is equals to 4, which means x is equals to 4 all over 3. That's the answer. Okay, I believe you can see how we've done the whole of it. So we move on to the last question. Y is equals to 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 3x squared minus 12x plus 12. Okay, find the gradient function of the curve. So finding the gradient function of the curve is just dy over dx. Okay, which gives you, if you differentiate this, is going to be 6x squared minus 6x minus 12. Okay, I won't go over differentiation. I believe it's something we should know by now. So that's the what? That's the gradient function. It's only 1 mark. You get your 1 mark. Now we continue on to the next question, which says determine the equation of the normal to the curve at point 1, -1. Okay, so here they were very generous to give you both the 2 points, but they usually give you only the x. Okay, and now you have to take the x, feed it. You have to take the x, feed it into the original equation to get the y. Okay, so if you take that x there, you find that you're going to get point 1, -1. Anyway, so they are telling us determine the equation of the normal of the curve at point 1, -1 in the form y is equals to mx plus c. So what we do is we have the what? We have the gradient function. Okay, so at the gradient function at point 1, negative 1, we are going to fix the value of x here, okay? And then that will give us what? That will give us the gradient, okay? That will give us the gradient. That's going to be 6 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 minus 12. That's going to be 6 minus 6 minus 12. So the gradient is equivalent to negative 12 at point 1, negative 1, okay? The gradient is negative 12 at point 1, negative 1. Now the other thing that we need now to find is the gradient of the normal, okay? This is the gradient of the tangent. Now we need to find the gradient of the normal. So for example, if you have a curve, okay? So if you're given a curve and then you're told to find, let's say now this was what? This was the y is equals to 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 12x plus 12. So first of all, you need to get the point, which is 1, negative 1 is going to be down here, right? Okay, let's just say 1, negative 1, and we move there. Negative 1, okay? So this is our xy. So probably we have now 1, negative 1 here, okay? So first thing you're going to do is you're going to get the gradient, okay? The gradient function. Once you get the gradient function, you are going to feed in the value of x. Once you feed in the value of x, you're going to get the gradient at that point, okay? So you start off with the equation, differentiate it to get the gradient function, feed in the value of x to get the gradient. Once you get the gradient, now you should know we're being told to find what? We're being told to find the equation of the normal. If this is the tangent, then it means this is the normal. The normal cuts at 90 degrees, okay? I know it's kind of confusing if you have not gone through this topic, but anyway, so we have 1, negative 1, and now we have our gradient, which was negative 12. So gradient of the normal, which are going to write m subscript n, is usually what? Is usually the reciprocal multiplied by negative 1. So for example, now we have the normal, the gradient equation having negative 12. So we are going to multiply it by a negative. So it's going to be negative 1 over 12. So it's going to be 1 over 12. So this is the gradient, okay, of the normal. We've seen how we find the gradient of the function at that point, the tangent. But now for the normal, we have to do what? We have to multiply by a negative, and then we reciprocate it, okay? Now after you've done that, the next thing now you do is you go back to the points that you had. You know that gradient, let's say for this normal now, gradient for this normal, gradient mn is given by change of y over change in x, okay? So the gradient you're going to feed it in is equals to 1 over 12 is equal to change in y is y minus the point there. The point of y is negative 1 all over x negative 1.